All this talk about AI heating up, like really heating up. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because this excerpt you sent over on China's DeepSeek AI, it's a bit of a shocker.
Definitely a surprise.
I mean, come on. An unknown Chinese research lab just waltzes in, and suddenly they're outperforming, what, Google? OpenAI. That's not how this is supposed to go down.
Right.
It's like the AI playbook just got thrown out the window.
It's a big surprise, yeah. And a wake-up call, too, I think.
Totally.
Oh.
So, okay, let's break this down a bit. For starters, what is DeepSeek? Like, what makes it different? What makes it so special compared to what we're seeing from, those big Western companies?
Well, at its core, DeepSeek is an AI model. And it can do it all, really, from natural language processing to image generation to, data analysis.
Yeah.
The thing is, what's really got everyone's attention is just how efficiently it can handle, super complex queries. It's like, imagine asking DeepSeek to analyze a massive data set, right? Looking for those hidden trends that normally a traditional AI might take, I don't know, hours, maybe even days to find DeepSeek. Could potentially do that same task in, a fraction of the time.
Wait, hold on. Back up a sec. That's not just a little faster. That's a whole different ballgame. Is that all thanks to China's approach to data, like the excerpt was suggesting? I mean, is that the secret sauce?
It's definitely a major factor. I mean, you can't deny it. China has access to these vast, massive data sets, right? And they've got fewer restrictions on data usage. It's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
So that's given DeepSeek a real advantage when it comes to training, It's like, think of an athlete who trains at a really high altitude.
Okay, yeah.
They develop this edge in oxygen efficiency, right? DeepSeek, kind of thing deal. It's trained on this massive scale, so it's developed this edge in data processing.
Wow, that's a good analogy. Okay, but let's talk brass tacks here.
Yeah.
What does all this mean for the U.S.? I mean, we've been the AI leader for, well, pretty much forever, right? And now this excerpt's talking about, implications for global AI leadership. Is this it? Is this the beginning of the end for the U.S.'s reign?
I think it's a little too early to say it's the end,
Yeah.
But DeepSeek's sudden appearance, it's definitely a sign the AI landscape, it's shifting. What we might be seeing is the start of a multipolar world where AI leadership, it's not just one place, it's spread out,
Yeah.
across different regions.
Okay, so not just a two-horse race anymore.
Yeah.
But what does that even look like in a practical sense? I mean, what are the real-world implications of this kind of shift?
Well, think about it this way. Imagine the race to develop new AI applications, right? Say a U.S. company and a Chinese company are both working on AI-powered medical diagnostic tools. Yeah. The U.S. company, they might have a head start when it comes to, fundamental research. But the Chinese company, using something like DeepSeek, they could analyze patient data from a much larger population. And that could lead to, potentially faster development, faster deployment even.
Okay, so it's not just about who gets there first, but who can actually use AI to make the biggest difference.
Exactly. And this competition, it goes way beyond just tech. We're talking healthcare, finance, even military applications, national security, the whole 9 yards.
And speaking of national security, I'm guessing DeepSeek popping up has got some folks in Washington feeling a little uneasy, to say the least. I mean, what could this do to the global balance of power, realistically?
Let's just play this out for a second. Imagine DeepSeek and the tech behind it being used to create, let's say, advanced surveillance systems or autonomous weapons. The change in military capabilities, that could have a massive impact on how the world works, geopolitically speaking.
That's a little unsettling, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's like we're walking into this whole new world, this whole new set of possibilities, and some of them are, let's just say they're making me think twice about this whole living in an AI-powered world thing.
That's a totally fair reaction. The rise of DeepSeek, it's not just a technological thing. It's geopolitical, it's strategic, it's all of it wrapped into one. It forces us to look at the world and how power works in a whole new light.
Okay, so this isn't just some random thing that happened, right? This excerpt, it talks about how China has this strategic vision when it comes to AI leadership. What's the deal there? Fill me in.
China, they've been very deliberate, very intentional with their approach to AI, pouring resources into research and development and really fostering this close relationship between the government and private companies working in the AI sector.
So it's a very top-down approach, while the U.S. has been more, let the private sector lead the charge.
Exactly. It's almost like a clash of philosophies, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, that's for sure. What we're seeing now, it's the birth of two distinct AI ecosystems.
Two ecosystems with different approaches, different strengths, and, maybe very different impacts on the world.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've got DeepSeek shaking things up, China making its move, and a whole bunch of questions about what happens next. So where do we go from here?
Well, one thing to think about is like how these different ecosystems are going to interact, Will it be all competition or could there be, I don't know, some opportunities for collaboration?
Good point. I mean, competition, it's usually a good thing, right? Drives innovation and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But with something as, I don't know, as powerful as AI, shouldn't there be like some kind of global cooperation just to make sure things don't, get out of hand?
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely people, experts, policymakers even, who are pushing for that, for international collaboration on AI development, on governance, all of it.
Yeah.
The tough part is, well, finding common ground.
Mm-hmm.
When different countries have, different priorities, different values even.
It's like we're building this crazy powerful tool, but we don't even have a user manual. No rules, no guidelines, nothing.
That's a pretty spot-on analogy, actually. Imagine developing nuclear tech, but without any of those safeguards, without those treaties we have now. That's what we got to avoid with AI.
Right. So how do we even start to build those rules? I mean, who gets to decide what's okay and what's not?
It's a tough one, no doubt about it. No easy answers here. Some folks, they're arguing for a more centralized approach, maybe through something like the UN, an international organization.
Mm-hmm.
Others think a more decentralized approach makes more sense. Each region sets its own standards, kind of thing.
But wouldn't that just create like a fragmented AI landscape where different parts of the world are playing by different rules? Couldn't that lead to even more instability, more conflict?
It's possible. And that brings up another issue. How do you make sure these different AI systems developed in different places can actually talk to each other? Like interoperability, that's the word.
Right.
Think about it. Imagine a self-driving car developed in China has to drive on roads in the U.S. The AI systems, they got to be able to communicate, to understand each other so everyone stays safe.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got this multipolar AI landscape emerging. We've got these challenges with governance, with making sure different systems can work together.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a bit overwhelming, if I'm being honest.
It is a lot, yeah, no doubt. But it's not all doom and gloom, I mean, all these challenges, they also create opportunities.
Oh, okay.
Having different AI ecosystems could actually lead to a more diverse set of approaches, a wider range of solutions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So maybe having multiple players in the game could actually be a good thing in the long run. But what about like the economic side of all this?
The economic impact of AI, that's already being felt globally, no question.
Yeah.
New industries popping up, old ones transforming, and the potential for both job creation and job displacement, it's all happening.
Right.
DeepSeek, China's AI goals, all that, it's likely going to speed things up even more.
So basically, we could see a shift in economic power too, with China possibly taking on the U.S., challenging our dominance in tech and innovation.
It's definitely on the table. China's already a big player in manufacturing, in tech. Now they've got these growing AI capabilities. That could give them a real edge when it comes to developing new products, new services, attracting investment, shaping global markets even.
This whole DeepSeek thing, it really changes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just about keeping up with the latest algorithms or processing speeds anymore. It's about understanding this whole bigger picture, the geopolitics, the economics, all of it.
You got it. The AI race. It's not just a tech competition anymore.
Yeah.
It's about global influence, economic power, and it's about shaping the future, really.
Okay, so we've talked about competition, collaboration, the whole governance issue, and the economic side of things. But what does all this mean for regular people, for individuals? How should we be thinking about this whole new AI era?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think more than anything, people need to stay informed, got to understand what's happening with AI, the good and the bad, the benefits and the risks. And honestly, we got to start talking about it, discussing how we want this tech to shape our lives.
So it's not just up to governments and tech companies to figure this out. We all have a part to play.
Absolutely. The decisions we make now, the values we prioritize, the conversations we have, all of it, it's going to influence how AI is developed, how it's used in the years to come.
That's a lot of responsibility. But it's also, kind of exciting, right? I mean, we're on the edge of this whole new technological revolution, and we get to help shape it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The future of AI. It's not set in stone. We get to write the next chapter.
Wow, food for thought for sure.
Yeah.
This whole conversation, I gotta say, it's been a bit of a wake-up call. I think we get so caught up in all the, the AI hype, the shiny new gadgets, all that that we forget to take a step back and look at, like the bigger picture.
It's like, here's a super-powered car, go have fun, but, oh yeah, you don't have a license.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive here into DeepSeek and this whole multipolar AI world that's emerging, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this? What's the question that should be, keeping them up at night?
But here's something to chew on. As AI becomes more and more a part of our everyday lives, are we, really ready for a world where the rules, the guidelines for how it's developed and used could be completely different depending on where you are? Could we actually see different parts of the world creating their own, AI ecosystems with their own ideas about data privacy, surveillance, even, what's considered ethical?
So it's not just about the tech itself, but about the values, the priorities that shape how it's used.
Exactly. And that leads to some pretty big questions, will these different AI ecosystems be able to, coexist peacefully? Or are we headed for a clash of values, a clash of priorities that could lead to, conflict, instability even?
Man, that's some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Makes you realize this whole AI future, it's not just about, lines of code and processing power. It's about the choices we make as people, as societies, as nations.
We're at this point now, this turning point, where the decisions we make today, they're going to have an impact for a long, long time.
This deep dive, it's been fascinating, eye-opening even, but gotta be honest, a little unsettling too. It's clear we're entering a new era, one that's full of potential, yeah, but also some serious challenges.
It's an era that needs our attention, needs us to be engaged, to really think critically about how we want to shape the future with this technology.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this journey. It's been a wild ride. And to our listeners, keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep pushing for an AI future that benefits everyone. That's the key.